Greetings, beautiful beings. If you switched onto this video, then hello. Wherever you are in the world, wherever you are tuning in from. So I just wanted to create this video of transparency. This one completes the little 30 days of transparency that I was recording. This is just me showing up and sharing what's alive in me. And today I'm just finishing, well, I probably will continue actually, my morning practice. Some of you have seen I share about morning practice and not switching on the mobile phone or Facebook or email or any sort of anything outward until you've come and connected to yourself. So yeah, I was just sat here in this park. I'm just going to give you a little pan around. And I was just sitting with so much gratitude. It's a nice waterfall down there. Probably can't see much as I face the sun. And it's just me in this area, mostly. There's some people doing their morning run, jog, and some families, some children went through, and parks always fascinate me because they have all this like life going on in them. And a lot's been happening the last few months. I've been traveling around Europe, giving events and workshops, and gave like 16 workshops, a 2-day event and a 7-day retreat, which was really like a 14-day retreat, because we were preparing the space in like a month period or so, meeting so many beautiful people, courageous beings, willing and wanting to explore themselves. And the invitation I always invite is, can we fall in love with ourselves? Can we truly fall in love with ourselves? Fall in love with our unique, miraculous nature, and then fall in love with the whole of this unique, indescribable experience we call life. And sometimes you can fall in love with life, and that cracks you open to fall in love with yourself, because you see nature, you see the wonder. Or you can fall in love, sometimes you have an encounter with another being, and maybe they crack you open and you feel that you're in love with them. You're in this sort of, individual sort of, let's say, love of other, but then that actually is a catalyst that cracks you open to the love of the beloved, the love of all, love of God, love of the divine. And seeing as that happened to me, which I've always sort of been in love with life, and on some level loved myself, probably from a slightly more unconscious level, and then truly fell in love with another being and that was the catalyst. That's why I know this to be true. It's like that was a peak experience. It was a peak experience. And peak experiences can happen in many different ways. They don't always need to be really big and vast. Peak experiences are sometimes subtle. Many of you have peak experiences all the time. Maybe you don't call them peak experiences, but they really are. And they sort of change the fabric of your perspective or way of being and so on. So today, so much information flying around, and I was sat here. I just did a high intensity training, 10 minutes. It's like really explosive training. Then I did what is called Wim Hof breathing, an intentional breath practice. It's not about being Wim Hof, so I just call it Wim Hof, but because he uses it, where you really breathe deeply, inhale, exhale. I've done another video on this, so you can find that and just search Wim Hof if you want to know the method. But it's an intentional breathing technique which really connects me, plugs me in, brings me more presence, more present with myself and the surroundings, and also makes me concentrate and opens my eyes and ignites my cells, and it does a number of other beautiful things for the intestines and the internal organs and your whole body really. And I've been doing that for a long time, along with meditation, and at the moment I do a guided meditation by Joe Dispenza. This is about rewiring the subconscious. I've mentioned that on some other videos as well. If you want to know more about that, just look at the book Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. You can go and explore that. And so bring you into a little bit of the wonder here today. So of course look around at the humans, they're divine beings, and see children and dogs and animals and all these like beautiful expressions. And I'm always fascinated by what my good friend Pepe Gauchi introduced me to in permaculture, is like, you know, the microclimates that are happening all around us. So I was sat here just on my mat looking around at the ground, smoke of my incense. And what I love about awareness is that the more that you become aware, the more you open your eyes, the more you let go, surrender, and just allow life to show you its magic, then it's happening all the time. And even more so when you look, you probably can't see this, but when you look closely into something that seems like there's nothing there, and then the more you keep your focus there, it starts to show you so much that's going on. Everything is moving all the time. It's just constant. And I was really loving the reflections of the sun on the leaves and the shadows and the light coming from everything. And that was really magical, and the moisture and the wetness on different parts of the soil and the ground, and I was enjoying my feet in the soil, and there's a cool breeze coming past me every now and again, and then there's the sound of the water, the waterfalls, all the elements here, just in my element in this, and then feeling all of that in me, you know, feeling the micro macro me, and feeling the more you look at this beautiful body, the more I touch this beautiful body, the more it opens and shows me its curvature and lines and intelligence, and then like a fly come. And then what happened is I was doing my yoga, I was doing downward dog on my yoga, doing some yoga sequence, and there's this little bug, and it looked like, I call it a bug, it's probably got some awesome name, but and it looked like it was just a walking bug, didn't look like much. And then I thought, I don't want to keep it on the mat, because sometimes this happens when you do yoga outside. Bugs come and do yoga with you, which is beautiful. They want to get involved. Sometimes if you don't see them, you might crush them, right? Because in their world, we're the macro, but in our world, we're the micro, and there's the macro even more outside, right? And in nature and so on, and in what we can't see. And so then I picked it up. I thought, I tried to move it with my finger, but it was super intelligent. It was like, saw my finger, moved, saw my finger move. So I had this little dance with it, trying to get it on my finger. And he was like, nope, I'm not going there. And he stayed on the mat. And then I went to get a leaf. I got a leaf, and of course, you know, he sniffed the leaf, and he thought, okay, he got on the leaf. So then I moved him over here to the side of my mat. I love this. And then he just walked to the edge of the leaf and then just flew off. And I didn't know he had wings. Yeah, and this is why it's just the magic of life constantly. And obviously I didn't see them, or I didn't look closely enough, because he was so like quite tiny in my perspective. And he just flew off, you know. And then I was just like, that's what inspired me to make this video. I was like, just the magic is just being shown all the time. The wonder, the beauty, the love, whatever you want to term it, the divine God, it doesn't matter really, but just can you see the magic? Can you see the life, the constantly playing with us and showing us it's just majestic beauty. It's like I'm just, some moments that just the love, the beloved, just in a beautifully overwhelming, not a negative overwhelming, like a beautifully overwhelming. Oh, you just can't, you can't, you can. Don't even, words will not do any justice right now. But maybe you can feel what I'm feeling, or you can relate in your own way of just being in that vastness. Like sometimes I have it at the top of a mountain or at the edge of a sea or the edge of the cliffs or whatever, and that vastness, but it's so there even in the micro, in the soil, in this little bug that just flew off. And then what happened is I have a real thing about what is called dragonflies. Let's just call them that because you need a visual. And a dragonfly, I don't see many dragonflies here, and whenever I'm doing stuff, dragonflies appear. So this dragonfly just landed down here on the leaf, and I haven't seen a dragonfly in the city or in Berlin since I've been here. So that's always a beautiful gift as well, and I love them. And there was some in Greece recently. There was these big red ones, and and the detail, like just the other day I went onto the balcony of where I was living, and there was this starling. Well, I didn't go on the balcony actually, I was inside, and the starling came on the balcony, and Dara spotted it, and I was like, oh. And have you seen the detail of the starling or any bird? And then, because I'm like constantly like just seeing and looking and present with what's around me most of the time, which I'm happy to say actually most of the time now. It never used to be like that. And there's this huge blackbird was on the floor on the street when I was walking the other day, and I was like, my lord, how big this bird is. And the detail, it wasn't black at all, it's like dark blue and grey and black, and I was like, wow, beauty, what detail. And for some of you might you get this, but like look at the detail in the design. Look in your eyes, look in the mirror today, touch your body. It's here right now with all of us, and then allow that perspective, allow that awareness to then look at the detail in the design all around us. And then you see, really, then the ordinary becomes extraordinary, because you see it. And like you see it for the first time every time. I never get bored of a sunset or a sunrise, or the soil or the bug, or the wisdom or knowledge that people share, or looking in the eyes of another being. Never get bored of hugging, and this love just continually expands. The more you open, the more it expands. And that's really what I wanted to share. And I was reading a poem yesterday by Hafiz, a Sufi master poet. Again, labels, what difference do they make? Just, another being that really was having a love affair with the beloved, went on this journey for many years, expressing what cannot be expressed, but doing it so poetically and being in it and surrendering to it. So yeah, in the park, under these trees that give us life, they breathe in what we cannot breathe and give us what we can breathe, and we breathe in what we can breathe and give them what we cannot breathe. It's just like the cycle of life. It's just astounding. And if you can take anything from this video, because I've got to a stage now where it's not even like, sometimes I'm trying to get everyone to see things the way I see things, or like throughout this path I've wanted to change people and coerce people and get people to watch all the documentaries I've watched and see life the way I see life, and gladly and maturely, for whatever reason, maybe the practice is maybe just awareness unfolding. I don't even need to get anybody to change or do anything, and don't even really need to get anybody to see what I see, but I like to share what I see and feel, and of course I want the revolution of love to sweep across the world in my raging optimistic mind of that, we really are collectively awakening soul by soul, and as those souls wake up, we rewire and redesign a whole way of being. And the woman is being the feminine energy, let's say, not just the woman, is being revered and acknowledged now like never before, and we can allow that balance, that cohesion, that union, that coherence, to witness that, to be a part of that as we look within ourselves and bring that awareness and balance and love to ourselves. It naturally ripples out, and then you realize that, wow, it's actually been all around at all time, and love has been showing us and dancing us and performing and expressing itself constantly, even way before we thought we were. Some people say they're spiritual, or they were this or that or whatever, or they're not in this ism or they're not in this ism. All of that separation is still in all areas of our unfolding. So when all that drops away and there's just a surrender, a letting go and experiencing, it's a very, very beautiful, peaceful, beautiful space. And it doesn't mean that inaction happens. There's still creativity pours through, become more attuned with the energies of who we are, and we use our genitals and our love for self to cultivate life force energy. And then as we take responsibility of our energy, we become this energetic being that wants to express itself, and in that, from that space, it only serves the whole. It's so profoundly beautiful, and of course conceptual until it's experiential. Just like knowledge is knowledge and becomes wisdom when it's embodied. So magical. So there you go. That is a little transparency from me on my yoga mat, doing my being awakened being, like doing from being. So doing my not really doing my being with my morning practice, being with life here, being with myself, spending some time with myself in nature, and was inspired to share it with you all. So thank you to all of you who click on and watch these videos and share and send me comments. And I don't get to every single comment, and I don't get to every single message that's sent to me, but I really appreciate you all. And wherever you are, whatever you're being, maybe realize, like that little bug, that you're a miraculous part of the whole, and you've got wings. Even if you can't see them, you've got wings. We've all got these wings, these superpowers, these beautiful magic. We're all magicians, alchemists, energy alchemists, moving energy, changing base metals into gold and platinum. We're changing. We're pleasure activists, pleasuring ourselves, falling in love, and then being the expression of love in the world. So keep shining your unique, miraculous self. All is well. And that is a hard one to really be with sometimes when we look out there in the world. But if we also shift our perspective, we can see beyond the seeing and purify ourselves so that we can walk as sovereign beings in wholeness and create the more beautiful world our hearts can see right here, right now.